isn't it? Things are getting worse for youth. Locked out of housing, declining real wages over time, no free tertiary education as I used to. So why don't they get out and vote more? That's my question to you. But first, before I go to the panel, I want to go to the youth MPs with Hayley.
Noella, obviously you're too young to vote now. How excited are you about voting?
I'm really excited. I've already enrolled, and so as soon as I turn 18, I can vote. And I would encourage all the other youth to actually vote and get amongst it.
So how old are you now?
I'm 17.
So you are obviously the motivated type. How do we motivate your mates who may not necessarily be as motivated?
That's quite a hard question, actually. There's a lot of discussion that youth have amongst themselves that doesn't really get picked up on by, I guess, the mainstream media or anything like that. So I think it's a bit wrong to sort of say that all youth are unmotivated. But
What are they saying? Why don't they want to vote?
yeah, it's a really complex issue. I'm not entirely sure why there aren't more youth voting. It's an incredibly important thing, and youth should be voting, as you saw with like Brexit. The youth wanted to leave, but not enough of them voted.
Exactly. So why do you think they're not voting? Do you think maybe it's not going to make a difference?
With the youth, you need to really encourage them to vote, but also it also comes down to some of the individuals. Sometimes some youth might just decide, oh, I don't want to vote. And so we need to actually try and help motivate youth, and so I think that's all we can do at the moment.
Do you think if we could do it on the internet or maybe with an app?
Maybe.
Get an app.
Get an app, yeah. Yeah, totally. Hey, well, isn't this the big issue, Chris? I mean, here we are. We've got, for example, in Auckland, locked out of houses for who knows how long. Nothing can happen with youth now. So it's an intergenerational war between baby boomers and the youth. So my question is, what will get the youth out to vote?
I think
You have a voice.
I think young people will vote when politics is relevant to them, and I think we as political leaders have failed to do that. If you go back to 2005, when we last had a high youth voter turnout, the interest-free student loans were on the table there. There was stuff that was relevant to young people.
But
and
surely,
a whole lot of what we do now is completely irrelevant to young people.
Do you agree with that? I mean, I would have thought the housing issue would have been extraordinarily relevant to, say, like a 20-year-old or 22-year-old. Is it the case that the people are too attached to, I don't know, their Pokemon Go's, Richard Prosser? I don't know.
Well, up to a point, I agree with Chris on that. I think, yes, young people or anyone will vote when they perceive it to be relevant to them. What we have to do is to make sure that, because voting is always relevant, politics is always relevant to people, whether they understand, accept that or not. What we have to do is get kids at school, teach them civics, explain to them why it's important.
Civics.
Explain
Chris, you're shaking your head.
I think it's really...
Hands up in the audience who agree with compulsory civics education. Hands up. About 20%?
I think it's really...
About 50%.
I think it's really patronising to say that young people aren't voting because they don't understand. I think young people do understand and they don't see politics as relevant. I think that saying that they're not learning enough about it isn't right. I think the young people that I've spoken to are really clued up. They actually do understand the issues and they don't see us speaking to the issues that they care about.
No, I don't mean they didn't understand. They don't understand the system. I mean, they don't understand why it's important. They don't understand why it's important to take that responsibility as a citizen. Because voting is part of your duty as a citizen. You know, if you look at...
Okay, so should it be compulsory,
yes,
like in Australia?
Yes, it should be an absolute part of the curriculum.
Yes,
compulsory. No, hang on, the education, not the voting, no.
The voting compulsory?
Civics education compulsory. The voting itself, no, I don't believe in that.
What about you?
No, I think it is a legitimate choice to decide not to vote. But actually, I think what's been said is right. The issues and engagement's important, but there's a red herring in this, and this is...
What's that?
And this is the means by which people vote. So online voting will be the silver bullet. I think it's something we should head towards, but if you look at a Scandinavian example, online voting does not get more people to turn out and get interested in the process.
All right, very interesting. Back to you guys very, very soon, but Hayley's got a guest.
I do. I'm here with James Nakise. What do you think is going to help our kids want to vote, want to be involved?
Well, I think it's like our youth MPs were saying, man. You got to look at the issues. Like with respect to what Chris was saying, I think a lot of the time it's pathways. So young guys just don't know what's in it for them. Like they don't see how voting for an MP is going to. If you're 19 or 20, all the 19 and 20-year-olds here make some noise. Yeah, exactly. Actually, while we're at it, all the Maori and Pacific Islanders make some noise.
Yay!
So, exactly. There's me, Wallace, and a statue of Matidia.
Come on. That's unfair, James Nakise.
like,
That's unfair.
but pathways, how do you engage people? You got to show them that there's actually, like, I'm in the UK at the moment, and it's insane over there because people are finding a way that voting can actually make a difference for them. And in New Zealand, we don't necessarily see that. Like, we were just talking about Pokemon Go and how the baby boomers are the people who make Pokemon Go, but it's all the kids who are playing Pokemon Go. So there's that power dynamic as well.
We're buying into their shit.
Well, this is a generation who saw all of their, their whole generation was about empowering themselves. And now this next generation is going, okay, well, how do I empower myself?
So maybe it's up to the youth then to do it for themselves, decide how they're going to empower themselves.
Well, I think also, like, I was at Glastonbury when Brexit happened, which was a very depressing time. And
Why weren't those guys voting?
Well, they were at Glastonbury. They had better things to do. But Billy Bragg was there. Do you guys know who Billy Bragg is?
Oh, yes.
No. Yeah. See, all the guys clapping, the youth MPs, I don't know who he's talking about. I don't know who this guy is. And he said the biggest thing is actually cynicism. So I think that's the big factor. How do you engage with a generation becoming more and more cynical about the political process, about everything going on, where they feel that every party, whether they're red or blue or black or yellow or green, is basically the same?
Well, they're not, are they, Wallace? Not every party's the same.
Hey, round of applause to James O'Keefe. It's good to have you on the show, James. Hayley, one of my favourite comedians, by the way. James, you got anything you want to plug just for 5 seconds?
To be honest, I really am in the UK at the moment. I'm just back for a quick family holiday. If you're in Edinburgh,
mirage.
if you're in Edinburgh, come to my show in Edinburgh. Just tweet your friends. Come to my show in Edinburgh.